You are listening to the BlahCade podcast. I'm your host, Chris Freebus, aka Shut Your Trap. Joining me, as always, Jared Morgan.
G'day, Chris. How's it going?
Things are going smashingly well, considering that yesterday at work we got to hit the four quadrants of which
Really?
were which were working exterior at night in the rain on a Friday. Friday is when your Friday work goes into Saturday and you're still working.
Oh God! I can see why it's called that.
So yeah, it was like, really? Oh, misery.
Yeah, misery and despair.
Yes.
Well, for me yesterday, it was all barbecue. It was barbecue all the things. Yeah, because over here we have a large hardware chain called Bunnings, and Bunnings let you raise money for your local community group or charity by doing a sausage sizzle. I don't know if that concept's a thing for Australia only, but a sausage sizzle is basically a sausage cooked on the barbecue and then put in a slice of bread.
Are we talking bratwurst or
nah, just barbecue sausages?
Like not morning breakfast sausages, but evening sausages, I guess what you would say.
I don't know what evening sausages are.
I don't either.
Do they wear a waistcoat and do you have to like buy them dinner first or what? Like,
well, like we have things called Louisiana hot links, which are technically a sausage, but they're kind of spicy and hot.
Oh, okay.
They're not a bratwurst, which obviously are a completely different thing. So I mean, I guess we have different types of sausages here, but I don't know what is your sausage comprised of?
Well,
apart from lips and assholes
and all the other random stuff.
Exactly.
Call them mystery bags, mystery bag and bread. No, well, the sausages we actually get them from a pretty good butcher here. So we don't just go to the supermarket and buy them in bulk. We actually go to a butcher, and he does us a good deal on the price of them per kilo, and so that's all right. But they're I'd imagine how would you describe them? They're just basically a beef sausage. So it's ground up beef with seasonings and all that sort of stuff in it, and it's just like that. It's
okay.
Yeah, they actually call them here barbecue sausages.
Okay,
is what they're referred to as. They don't have a time of day attached to them. They're just barbecue sausages.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, sometimes we just call those hot dogs, but I know what you guys eat for hot dogs, and they ain't hot dogs.
No, hot dogs here are weird. They're like red cased, like mostly cereal based sausages with a little bit
filled
of
with ooze.
Yeah, goop that basically you can eat them cold without even putting them into hot water because they're basically already sterile, and you can you can just eat them. They're really terrible. They're gross. But there's a real art to doing. The funny thing is at Bunnings is they've opened up their first hardware store in the UK, and Bunnings is owned by a large company here called Wesfarmers. Wesfarmers own a whole lot of supermarkets as well here, and bottle shops. So a place you can buy liquor at. And they thought, well, we'll open it up over there in England, and we will also continue the tradition of the sausage sizzle to raise money for community groups over there as well.
Okay.
But it's okay in Australia because generally speaking, we don't really have winter here. But in the UK, it's sort of snowing at the moment. So these poor people are just like huddled around this little barbecue, just trying to keep warm. And going, why are we doing this? This is stupid. But they need to make it a little bit more regionally specific, I think. I think they need to make it so it's, I don't know, bangers and mash.
You say fish and chips.
You can buy fish and chips. Yeah, and basically a big deep fry with fish and chips that you can buy. I reckon that'd be the winner over there.
Yeah, probably. So obviously this past week also Valentine's Day happened, and my wife is trying to kill me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Are you familiar with Heelys?
Heelys.
Yes. Heelys are the shoe that kids wear that have a skate wheel in the heel. So
yeah. I've seen it. That's what they call it. All right, Healys.
Yeah,
I've seen those.
Yeah, so she got me a pair of those in adult size.
Hey, that'd
And
be easy to zoom around the set on.
let's just say kids have a much lower center of gravity.
Have you got on your ass a number of times now?
I haven't yet, but that's because I haven't even ventured outside the house. I've been trying it back and forth in our hallway because I feel safe and not stupid in public doing it yet. But you can easily see. I've seen kids on the way to school go down on them, and it does not look. It's very painful. It looks like I said, they're already low to the ground. So yeah, I'm trying to be extra cautious.
Yeah, that sounds fraught with danger. But also, once you master them, I think it'd be like riding a bike, right? Once you get it, you get it, and then you can just go zooming around the sets on these things and make everyone jealous, and everyone else will get one of those, a pair of Healys, as well as the Fidget Cube, so they can actually be as cool as you.
I'm pretty sure I would be mocked for wearing Healys to the set. Also, they would not be safe in a set.
There'd be some sort of lore.
Yeah, but the Fidget Cube, yes, everybody keeps on asking about the Fidget Cubes, and everybody loves the Fidget Cube. So those are definitely a positive on the film set. But Healys, not so much.
I can definitely say that I love my Fidget Cube. It's excellent. It contains most of the features of the Fidget Cube, but it's a little bit different. It's a Fidget Cube.
I learned how to take mine apart finally, because one of my fidget items, the little joystick that flicks back and forth, kept on getting stuck. And I was looking online for how to take them apart, and all anybody had instructions for was for the actual Fidget Cube, not for the Stress Cube. And so I eventually pried mine apart and figured out how to unscrew it, and when I unscrewed it, my whole thing is done by magnets. I know the Fidget Cube, actually, it doesn't use magnets at all. So that'll be kind of interesting if I were to buy an actual genuine Fidget Cube to see what it would be like. What was happening was the joystick was kind of grinding on the magnet itself, and so I wound up dropping a little WD-40 in there. And now it rotates really nicely and flicks back and forth wonderfully. But I was almost thinking, guys, should I make a YouTube video on how to take apart your Stress Cube? But
someone will watch it.
Somebody will watch it, right?
Yeah, exactly. People are out there watching people fold clothing up on YouTube, so they'll watch anything, mate.
People are out there also buying whatevers on eBay. Somebody was just talking about how they sold a single sock that had the little ball on the ankle for like $99.
What?
Right? the guy apparently sells a ton of stuff on eBay and just posts whatever, all sorts of manner of junk. He doesn't care, and sometimes the thing hits and will go skyrocket. It doesn't cost him a dime to post it, so he's like, "What the heck? I'll throw up anything and everything and see what flies."
So he's basically got this huge inventory of junk, and he just lists it and see what it'll go for.
Right.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I guess that's one way of selling things. Very weird.
Okay, hey, let's move into other things. Now, normally Jared would probably be blaring up the warning klaxon that we're about to talk non-pinball, which we've just spent the past 5 minutes doing. But trust me, it'll come around to it. So just bear with me. Last week, I mentioned that I'd seen the Lego movie, and I was about to go see John Wick Chapter 2. So I went and saw John Wick Chapter 2. Holy crap.
So it was terrible.
Oh. Terrible, but 180 degrees from that. Yeah, it was kinds of. It was all kinds of awesome. It's everything I love in an action movie, especially just rock solid camera work and stunts that make you go, oh! I mean, there was at least 3 moments in the movie that the entire audience gasped because of a particular painful way somebody went out. read you one of these stats. So in the first John Wick movie, there were 77 kills, of which 49 were by headshot, which is just insane.
That's a lot of headshots.
It's a lot of headshots, and I always used to joke that the difference between a good action movie and a great action movie was a bullet to the head and a dismemberment. Well, although there are no while there's no dismemberments in the John Wick movies, the ample amount of headshots more than makes up for it.
Yeah. What do you think the ratio is? What do you reckon the ratio is?
Well, in that movie, obviously, it's 49 headshots of 77 kills.
I'm talking about how many. What's the ratio between headshot versus decapitation? How many headshots do you think we need to actually equal a decapitation? 3?
I don't know. It hard to equate, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that when I watched that first movie, it took me quite a few moments before I finally was like, my God, every single person he's killing, he's making sure he taps them in the head too. And it kind of made me laugh. And then I started watching for it, and it was like, yeah, every single one of these guys, he's tapping them, making sure they're down. I'm like, that's awesome. So I was hoping for more of the same in this movie. Well, let's just say they upped the ante.
So they put in decapitations as well.
No. Still no dismemberments. But somebody had posted an infographic. They broke down all the major action scenes and broke it down for what kind of kills, what kind of weapons were used. I mean, it's nuts how people go into it, because what you got to realize is that it's kind of like competitive shooting, the way that Keanu runs through the victims, in that he's these actual competitions where it's all these targets set up, and you go to these, you're running through trying to get a good time as well as get a good accuracy percentage, and you're also switching up weapons constantly and having to reload. And there's video out there of Keanu doing this for real with live ammo on a course, and it's insane. You're just like, okay, this dude's really a badass. But
so he's, as part of his training, he had to actually do competitive shooting.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, because they do these extended long takes with minimal cuts. So there is no faking it. You got to be able to do quick reloads and fire, the weapon and stuff. So anyway, in this movie, according to the infographic, it has 128 kills.
Oh, jeez.
104 by headshot.
That's pretty impressive.
And yeah, it's pretty impressive, and that's just the stuff with the guns. Not to mention people that he takes out with cars, people that he takes out with a pencil. It's it's really, really awesome just how much carnage he does. And as one of the characters says in the beginning of the movie, if we only had not killed his dog.
Yeah,
all would have been right in the world.
Yep.
So anyway, I got to thinking about, and here's where we come back around to the pinball aspect of things. Keanu has been in 2 other tables that have, or 2 other movies that have become pinball machines. And I was thinking, I was like, hey, would John Wick be a good license to make a pinball table out of? And I was like, well, with all these headshots and everything, it'd have to be, Drop Target City. But also he's doing it in combination. So you'd also have to have ramps and combo moves of doing these things. So that's where it kind of was starting. I was like, would it be multi-ball? Would it only be a single ball game and everything? But then it got me thinking about pinball tables where the license, the machine, is better than the actual movie or TV show it was based off of. And I was thinking about that because I was like, yeah, Johnny Mnemonic, terrible movie, but a pretty good pinball machine.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, dolphins. There wasn't really that much reference to dolphins in the pinball, so that's fine.
And then you look at Keanu with Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is pretty good movie despite Keanu's acting, and pretty good, pinball machine. So it's not so much fun though to point out machines that are equal to or maybe even less than the license. But I just wanted to talk about the machines that the movie or TV show sucked in comparison to the table it was based off of.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have any in mind that might qualify. I've written down mine. So I'll get us started and see where you can go from there.
Okay, sure.
So, terrible movie, fantastic pinball, The Shadow. Oh, by the way, I should mention, we're going to stick to purely Bally's and Williams at the moment. And we'll talk about what we can do with the other ones after this. But we're just going to stick with Bally's and Williams because it's a rather large list otherwise.
Yeah, it is actually pretty big when you think about it.
Yes. So like I said, The Shadow, terrible movie, but obviously very high-ranked pinball machine.
I have not even seen The Shadow, and I think that's probably a good thing, because I think the pinball is good. Yeah, that seems legit to me. I was thinking in the same vein, because I think there's a couple of actors in this movie that's the same. It's Congo. Congo is... I don't know. The movie is a little bit sort of average, but I think the pinball's quite average. A lot of fun. Yeah, a little average.
I hated that movie. Amy hurt. Oh, I just wanted to slap that monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pinball machine. Now I gotta be honest. I've played the pinball a couple of times. I'm not that enamored by the pinball machine, but it's definitely heaps better than that craptastic movie.
Yeah. I played it a fair bit. I know my way around it. It's very flowy and it's quite good to play. And there is Amy in it because she's a big thing, but it's like one of the quotes in there is Amy, very crazy. They just go, yep, that's great. Yeah, you can say.
Oh, okay. Let's go with another one. Terrible movie, pretty decent pinball machine, Demolition Man.
Oh yeah, that's a top pin. I don't know. The movie was okay, but it wasn't as terrible as Congo, put it that way. But yeah, Demolition Man is a great table, wide body, heaps of flowy ramp shots, a big crane. It's got all you need, really. It's good.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh well, we'll stay on the Sylvester Stallone front. Now, this wasn't based on the movie, but it came out at the same time, relatively to the movie. And that'd be Judge Dredd, which was terrible movie, except for one scene that I particularly love. But the rest of the movie with Rob Schneider was just like, really?
It was horrible. It was really terrible. And yeah, I think it's a strange pin that doesn't have any pop bumpers, but it's a good table to play. As we said last time, I think it needs a mini playfield though. A Dead World mini playfield and get rid of that stupid spinning thing that doesn't actually do anything. Yeah.
For those wondering, the moment in Judge Dredd that I actually do like is when he's in the wasteland and he comes across the three inbred brothers, and there's the one, I don't even know what his name is, but he's got a dial in his head that he dials it and it makes him just like jacked up. But it's one of the best practical effect makeup jobs that I've seen. I mean, it is spectacular makeup effects. And that's purely the only reason why I watched that scene is because it's just like, in an age before CG, this thing looks flawless. Just how they did the makeup on that. Yeah,
it is. I don't remember that scene, but that would be pretty cool to see this dude turning a dial on his head to make him freak out
and get enraged. I'd also like to point out, just as a side note, that if you are somebody that rather enjoys John Wick, do check out Dredd, which was with Carl Urban being Judge Dredd. It's really, really good, and it's virtually the exact same plot as The Raid, which is the Indonesian movie that I particularly love. But whereas The Raid is all martial arts, Dredd is all gunfire and explosions. Cool. So it's kind of pick your poison as to what you will. We once did a double feature night of watching both Dredd and The Raid, and that's when it was like,
these are the same movies.
Yeah, these are the same movies, just slightly different, but they were made at the same time, so it wasn't like one was copying the other.
So they were just one of those perfect circle sort of things where they just
literally,
happen.
yeah, it's really strange.
Wow.
And the reason why Dread did it the way it did, because it's a budgetary concern. It made the movie much cheaper to make by having it all centered in one scene, and that's, again, the Raid did it because, hey, we want to spend all of our time on martial arts and not on all this other stuff. Now, if you watch the Raid 2, then you get all the other stuff. But anyway.
Right. Cool.
Side note, sorry, get sidetracked there. You got any, by chance, another table that you might want to mention?
Well, I have to say, probably from a TV series perspective, I've got to go with Doctor Who is much better than the series because
really,
I think so because the effects are better.
Are we talking about the Doctors 1 through 8, which the table is based on?
Oh yeah, the original.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely the original. I'm trying to compare it to most episodes of the early Doctor Who, you know, where they have Boxman from the planet Box, basically as the as the aliens, right? So, you know, the effects, the actual DMD effects actually improve upon the show's effects in some cases, and I think for that reason alone, it actually wins out with the old series. I'm sure there's a whole lot of Doctor Who fans out there now just like throwing their phones down in disgust at what I'm saying, but I said it.
Yes, send your hate mail to Jared on Twitter at Jared Morgs, or you can send hate mail to BlahCade at gmail.com.
That's right.
I'm gonna go with, and I hesitate because I don't really know the table that well, but it has to be better than the movie, which was of the Flintstones.
Yeah.
Because you could not pay me to watch that movie, but
it's terrible. Paid, Rick Moranis and John Goodman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I get the quotes alone.
That's one of those machines that I truly wish that they had of just that they could retheme it, that they could just base it off the cartoon and get rid of the movie. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, that'd be such a good one for a bit of a Stern Vault treatment, if it was a Stern.
Well, especially since I just saw art for somebody's doing a Jetsons table.
Yeah, it's a Spooky Pinball contract job.
There you go.
Yeah, they're doing it on behalf of somebody else, and yeah, it's basically they say the Jetsons is actually a table that's like for the entry level pinball player. Mm-hmm. So
it looks it.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's basically like almost like a System 11 layout. Very basic rule set, but still fun and engaging at the same time.
But the art looks great. I mean, I really like the artwork on it.
And just the theming in general looks great. Like the big, massive plastic ramps on there that actually look like the paths that the spaceships take and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I think they really nailed the art on it. It looks like it would be a fun machine to just have in, you know, a mum and dad's playroom, like, you know, rumpus room or something like that. I think, yeah, I would like to see it in the flesh.
Okay, my last table, which I, you know, have to mention at every opportunity possible, but it sure as hell is better than the TV show of which it was based on, Roller Games.
Oh, Rollie Games. Yeah, that's true. It is a TV show.
That nobody's seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen it at all. I think that my first exposure to Roller Games would actually be the pinball machine if it ever makes it to TPA, which I hope it does, because it's a good System 11.
Yeah,
and it's got great music. You know, can't wait to hear that. All right, let's see. Belly and Williams ones. I'm trying to think of some other ones that are.
Well, let me go through the. I've got the list in front of me, and I can rattle them off. And how about this? As I rattle these off, if you think that the table is actually worse than the property it's based on, let me know. Addams Family, which I would argue is probably about equal to.
I'd say about equal. Yeah.
Dirty Harry.
Oh.
Again, I'm almost going with equal.
Yeah, equal.
Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's Island, I think.
I mean, it's a terrible TV show, and I've only ever played the machine in visual pinball, so I'm not quite sure.
Geez, I think. Oh, it's tough. I think it's the pinball machines are slightly worse. I think. I don't know. It's a tough call.
Right. The Indiana Jones Pinball Adventure.
No,
No way is that better than the movies.
Well, yeah, I think it's actually all you can say about that pinball. It's not worse, but it's homage to the pinball machine. I think it's be very hard to actually.
The spirit.
It captures the spirit of it very well. Absolutely does. Yeah.
Star Trek Next Generation.
Oh, again,
I
captures
go
the
with
spirit.
the captures the spirit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, very well.
Okay, this one is up for debate. Star Wars Episode 1.
Ooh.
I vote that the movie's crap, and so is the pinball table.
I actually think the pinball table wins.
I don't know. There's no Darth Maul lightsaber battle in the pinball table, so that's the saving grace of that movie.
Yeah, true. I think actually there is a Darth Maul mode in it where you actually have to battle him. So yeah, there is technically, but yeah, I think it's good. It's visually appealing at least, and unfortunately, I wish they had a Jar Jar off mode in that game where you just got awarded the mode and you didn't have to go through it.
Yeah,
that'd be really good.
Okay, Terminator 2.
I'd say probably the movie's better.
Yeah, I would slap you if you said different.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, they're supposedly doing a conversion of that into a 3D and then gonna do a theatrical release, and I'm rather looking forward to that because it's been years since I've seen it on the big screen, and I'm thinking about a couple of moments in the movie that I'm like, oh yeah, the gun and the pointing, his shotgun pointing straight into the audience, or the finger extending out as it goes. I'm like, there's some really good stuff that could be awesome in 3D.
How could they not posthumously, but like how could they apply those effects convincingly after the fact? They'd have to have like the
same way that they do it in today. Most movies are not filmed native in 3D, and so they do a conversion, and they've gotten really good at doing the post conversion. Cameron himself is supervising this one, so it's not going to be.
I would go and see it again.
Yeah, it's not going to be a slouch job. And the only tricky part is if they still had the computer, the CGI files.
Yeah, which I'm sure they would.
Then they can actually make those do a true 3D extension rather than faking it through a conversion process. They can actually do it like they would do with modern effects today. So
I reckon they'd have to. They would have those assets surely in some form.
You'd hope.
The question is, could they open them? That's the big thing. They're probably all done on Silicon Graphics workstations,
right?
Which no longer exist anymore,
right?
So, yeah, that'd be a bit of a challenge. But I'm sure there's a way that they could do it, and I reckon they should do it that way. It sounds like they're not going to do a bodge job on it, so that's definitely good.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to if they do that. But anyway, moving on. Twilight Zone.
I think it definitely captures the theme of the original show. There's so much. I know when Sean Don Carlos was talking about that in these Lost in the Zones in early episodes, they have packed so many different references to that show into that pinball. It's insane how much they put in there. So definitely on par with the series, I would think.
Popeye Saves the Earth.
Is that a movie?
No, it's based on the cartoon, though.
Oh, definitely the. I haven't even seen the movie. I can tell you for a fact that the movie would be better. Yeah,
it's one of those tables that everybody just goes, "Ooh, bad job, bad job."
Yeah. Oh, man.
I think mainly because they wasted so much space
with that stupid boat. Yeah. It was terrible.
Now, this is one that I wasn't sure if I should include or not, but I'm going to. Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't know if it's necessarily based on the movie. It's more about based on going to the movie.
It is. It's the experience of going to the movies. I think it's a little bit too transient, a little bit too meta to actually be a direct comparison.
And here's one where I will hands down say that the table is worse than the product of which it was based on, which is Bugs Bunny Birthday Bash.
Is that a movie?
No, just Bugs Bunny cartoon.
All right. I've never played that one. Is it gross?
Oh, it's terrible. It is a hideous on every level machine. I mean, even the artwork is bad. I mean, how do you make bad Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes things? It's the color palette. It's the table is it off-white or just white playfield with images on it. It's ugly to look at, not fun to play.
Oh, that doesn't sound good at all.
No. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a Bally table, and I think it's of the era of, say, Elvira and the Party Monsters.
Oh, right. Okay, so it's like a System 11 sort of table.
Sort of, yeah, but the sound effects are terrible. It's just everything about it is dreadful. It's I would nominate it as probably Bally and Williams' worst licensed table out there.
Right. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad.
So, hey, gang, if you want to play along, the site that I was getting this list off of is tvtropes.org, and Jared will post the actual link to licensed spin tables that you can look on every page. And what they break down is what are the various, when they say a trope means, cliches or whatever that are included in many TV shows. They break down each table. You click on the table and it breaks down a list of all the features that it has that are related to TV, not related to pinball, you might say. But anyway, go to that site, check it out, because what we're asking of you, there is a whole mess of Stern and Data East and Sega tables that are based on TV shows or movies. And we want to hear from you guys. What do you think are the licensed tables that are better than the product, better than the product that they were based on?
And we've left you with all the good ones because there's a whole pile of Data East and Sega, which are super license heavy.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's even Gottlieb ones if you want to torture us, so go for it.
So go ahead.
I'm looking at you, Waterworld.
Feel free to torture us.
Stargate.
Drop us an email, BlahCade@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter @BlahCade. Let us know what you think. You can even, once Jared posts to the Pinball Arcade fans forum, you can post your comments there. Whatever, we'll collect them and then we'll discuss that next time. And it'll be fun to see what you guys think. Because there's some in here that I'm looking at where I'm just like, whoo boy.
Yeah, there's some killers in there for sure.
For sure. Hey, last time we were talking about all the Arcuda features and news that we could kind of speculate on and know about. Yeah. And one of the things we were talking about was how with Farsight, they're going to have their own backglass to play with.
Yes, that's right.
And we were saying that we believe that Farsight's going to have to create these backglasses because obviously they're going to need to do functions that they've never had to do within Pinball Arcade.
Yep.
And one of the users on the forum, he goes by the name of Relaxation, he brought up an interesting point. And that is, what do you do with a backglass that's, say, for an alphanumeric table?
Oh,
where it's not in the DMD? Or what do you do with a table where the information is in between the speaker grill and not actually up on the backglass?
Yeah, true. What about Circus Voltaire, which actually has the speakers built into the backglass?
And the DMD is on the table and not on the backglass at all.
That's right. That's going to be tricky.
That's the question. What do they do? What do you think? I'm kind of the opinion of just not redesigning the backglass at all, just squishing it all onto the 32-inch, faking the speakers and making the speakers look like they're there, and then squishing it all up there.
Yeah. Oh, they could do that, I guess.
I mean, take it for instance, F14 Tomcat. The alphanumeric is right in between the two Williams speakers.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, another option that I guess you could do is since this isn't a dot matrix alphanumeric, it's not dot matrix, it's LCD. So they have, or LED, they have a lot more control over what they can do. You could, I guess, simulate the alphanumeric on the DMD screen.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what they do now, really. With some of the tables, like they've actually got the alphanumerics already emulated and displaying on some of the tables within the that area. But I know on mobile they've had to turn a lot of that off because it introduces a performance impact. But yeah, they can do that now, so they'll probably just do that, but adapt it for the different types of displays. The other thing that's interesting is, what about those displays like, for example, Taxi, that have the little lights below the alphanumeric to,
Right. Then what do you do?
Because that's going to, yeah, well, it's just another pain, really, isn't it? See, I think what they're going to probably have to do is they will take the static image of the back glass and they'll have it in its off, probably maybe lit state with just the general illumination on.
Mhm.
And then what they'll do is they'll map in effects like flashes and stuff like that, and blinking lights that are actually controlled lights. They'll actually map those in as light points behind the back glass. And the same with the arrays of lights below the alphanumeric displays. Same sort of technology. They'll just like turn those on and off. They sort of represent those now in the game, with the DMD, with the alphanumeric display, anyhow in game. So it's not a big stretch to think that they'd actually be able to do that in the sort of remade version, I think.
What'd be great is if they allow the tables to do attract mode.
Oh yeah.
And then what would be even also pretty cool is if you kind of put it on shuffle, so that say every 5 minutes, the whole back glass and playfield change and do a different table in attract mode. So it's just constantly changing what is displaying
on the screen.
Yeah, on the screen.
That'd be a pretty cool feature.
That'd be pretty cool.
It'd be cool. It's built sort of like a different pinball every 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
Because within 5 minutes, you're going to get the entire attract mode. All the call-outs that you do on stuff and all the lighting pattern changes, all the information that would pop up on the DMD or on the alphanumeric, all of that's going to be displayed within a 5-minute time period. So I think that would be pretty cool. I'd like that.
I think it'd be good. Yeah, that would work really well. That'd be a good value add to the whole Arcuda package, I think.
I was gonna say, who do we send that request to? Arcuda or Farsight?
Or both. Or probably both, I think.
Probably Arcuda mainly.
Yeah, Arcuda, I would think, would be the people who would drive it, because
they'd have to want the feature, and then they'd have to request the feature, knowing what they
pay for the feature.
And pay for the feature, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a very good question, and I think Relaxation brings up a good point. In the thread, the previous thread, he actually gives some back glasses as illustrations of the point, and there's definitely a good variety of ways that they've done DMDs in there and speakers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does pose interesting challenges, and he also brings up a valid point where sleeve form factors and crazy back glass sizes. That's going to be very interesting to see how they do that. It'll definitely involve,
because not all back glasses are the same shape for the artwork at all.
No, because you look at some of the things like Bone Busters and some of the earlier tables, they actually did have larger back boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have to be scaled, and they're going to have to do some crazy stuff to them to actually make it work. So
yeah,
it'll be a challenge for sure. It's not going to be easy.
Something interesting to think about and look forward to seeing. Maybe.
Yeah. You got to think about it too, because in the Arcuda platform, the area below the LCD screen with the DMD in it is actually just a panel, like it's a plastic panel.
Yeah.
It's not like the full screen isn't actually like an LCD. So sort of mirroring the art on the panel is something they couldn't do. They could only really capture the glass.
Yeah.
itself and do it, which is fine. So that does make Class of 1812 as an example a real challenge, because they do have those cutouts right in the glass. But I think for those ones that have like 8-Ball Deluxe that have the little windows in there, they still, for those ones, of course, they didn't have a panel with speakers on it because there was only one speaker and it was in the base of the machine. I think they're just going to have to make it so that's all it's displayed on the screen, and just turn off the DMD when they do it.
Yeah.
And just redirect all the scoring up to the back glass.
Yeah, definitely on things like that, or like Firepower. Yeah, any of those early 80s tables where they the 4 scores were split up in 4 different corners of the back glass, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the look of the machine.
I really think that the way they'd have to segregate it is for those ones that actually have like a screen back glass with the holes cut out for the scores in the back glass area itself. They're just going to have to default that to the display area. But for those that have a speaker panel that contain the alphanumerics, then that would still be that'd be where they display it. For sure. It wouldn't make much sense to actually have the sort of speaker grill and everything displayed, because it's going to make all the perspectives completely screwed if they do that.
Yeah.
So pretty much take it as it is, and then if it's got score panes in it, then display the scores on that.
Sounds like a plan. Implement it.
Yeah, make it so.
Make it so. Hey, I think you got anything else you want to gab about before we close this down?
Well, I'm pretty excited because this Tuesday is our first tournament at the new venue, which is Netherworld, and it's a BlahCade, the first one in Brisbane that has opened up. I think there was one previously actually, but it closed down. But this one has opened up in a different place, and 14 pinball machines. Thank you very much for coming. So there's a good range of early to early solid states to alphanumerics to DMDs, all the way up to, I think they've got a brand new Batman 66 there as well. Nice. So I think that's what they have there. I'm not sure, but if they do, then that'll be pretty cool to play. So I've heard, interestingly, I've heard on Pinball Podcast, they were saying about all the issues they've had with that game. It basically, balls get stuck everywhere on it. It must be maybe that table that they've got is bad, or I don't know, but it doesn't sound like one I want to be putting on location.
Get off the balls constantly getting stuck.
Yeah, that'd be a nightmare. So I think they've got Ghostbusters there too. I don't know if it's LE. I think it's just the standard. So there's going to be a whole lot of new pinball machines that I get to play on Tuesday that I haven't yet played, because of course these tables really, they only the only place that really had them before Netherworld was down at the Gold Coast, and that's like a good 2-hour trip away. So like, there's no way I can get down there. So this opens up a world of pinball to me that's a lot closer.
Sweet. Hey, you saw the announcement. Looks like Zen is doing Samsung Gear VR now for the
Oculus 3D.
Yeah. You don't have that, right? You don't have Gear VR?
No, I kind of don't do Samsung products, so that rules me out. But I did actually say something interesting was when they made that announcement, I said, "Oh, that's really cool. I hopefully the next step would be Google Daydream," and they liked the post. So I don't know what that means, but if they are going to be first to market on Google Daydream, then I think I'll be getting a Daydream in my near future. Because I would be all over that, playing it on my Pixel, which is a Daydream compatible phone, and just seeing how it all was. I would love to give that a go on that. Or Samsung could just send me a Galaxy S6 and a Gear VR headset, and I could just test it for them.
Exactly. Yeah. If anybody out there wants to, let us experience the virtual reality of pinball, we're more than open to, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're happy to help. Just send hardware to North Lakes in Australia and California, the greater area of California, and we will gladly help you.
Yes, because we're whores like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, why don't we wrap it up for this session? Again, if you want to contribute in any way to our show, whether it's by commenting on anything that we have talked about, like we said, we'd love to hear what your thoughts of licensed movies and TV shows where the pinball table was better than the actual movie itself. Or if you have show topics that you'd like to throw our way and see if we can use in a future episode, please do so. Our email is blahblahblockade@gmail.com. Our website is blockadepinball.com. That's where all of the past shows are, as well as show notes and show timings and links to various websites that we mentioned in the shows. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. The show is @BlahCade, or you can follow Jared @JaredMorgs, or myself @ShutYourTraps. Well, I think this next week I might actually play some pinball because I have most of the week off.
Oh, lucky you! Get into it. Get onto those new Zen tables, mate, and give
there
them
you
a
go. I really got to check those out. But I'll be jealous of you if you get to get your hands on a Batman 66 because I'd love to hear what that is.
Believe me, I'll be taking photos like a boss on Tuesday, and if there's anything interesting, there are videos as well. So,
and I imagine you'll post those on Twitter.
Oh yeah, they'll be going to Twitter. So yeah, keep an eye. They may not be on the day because I'd probably have to upload video when I'm back in work. Because they have a very fast upload speed as opposed to me. That doesn't.
Yes, that doesn't. All right, gang. Well, that's what you have to look forward to. We will talk to everybody next time. In the meantime, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.